Ladies and gentlemen, what it do? I am your host, Young Bo Easy, and I would like to welcome you to the show. You are now tuned in to Knicks and Dimes. Alright, today we got a special show. I got a special guest co-host. I'm gonna let my man introduce himself.
What's up, everyone? My name is Juan Figueroa. Just like Bo here, I've been a long-time Knicks fan. I've been here through all the trials and tribulations, and hopefully we can enjoy some prosperity this season. So go Knicks, and I'm excited for the season.
Alright, so a show we're gonna get into. We got a couple topics that we're gonna discuss, and it should be pretty interesting as far as everything that had to do with the preseason. We're going to discuss some of the season and some of the questions that we had. So, to look no further, we're going to jump right in, man. So, stay tuned for that. Alright, man, welcome back. You here with your boy Young Bo Easy and your boy J Figs, man. I just gave him that nickname off of it.
I like that.
Alright, so we're going to discuss, man, wrapping up the preseason. The wrap up of the preseason and our thoughts on that. One, I'm going to let you jump in first with this one.
Yeah, so the Knicks finished the regular season 4-0. Yesterday's game was particularly good considering we were down, I believe, by 19 points at one point. And came all the way back to win it on a buzzer beater by Randall. A lot of our players did play a lot of minutes in that last game, but I feel like that's just preparing us for what's to come for the regular season. Our regular season, for the preseason, we did play Washington twice, we played the Pistons, and then we played the Pacers. Again, those are not necessarily the sexiest opponents. Those are teams that most likely won't be in the playoffs.
I would say Pacers has
Maybe
the
the
most respect
Pacers.
out of all of them.
Maybe the Pacers. So we can't put too much emphasis on the preseason, but I definitely enjoy that. You know, we were able to enjoy a 4-game win streak for the preseason.
Facts. Same here. I definitely agree with that. It was some good things, and there's definitely some things that we could get better on, and that's something we also going to discuss further on in the show. Preseason, it's not too much to get hype about, no matter 4-0, 0-4. We were just discussing a stat that showed up last night. The Bucks started 0-3 last season, and we know they went on to the finals to get the ring. So you can't put too much emphasis on what's going on in the preseason. And but I pretty much agree with everything that Figs was saying, man.
Yeah, and to kind of talk back about yesterday's game, I mean, if I'm just looking at the stat line here for the Knicks, we see that Randall finished with 21 points, 10 rebounds, did play 35 minutes, went 6 for 16 from the field. Not necessarily his most efficient game, but definitely showed us that he's still an all-star and will continue to show us that this year. We did see that Kemba went 4 for 11, only played 19 minutes and had 12 points, 6 assists. Again, he did have a couple of plays where he showed little instances of what's to come, as in with his dribbling move and the little, I think he did a hesitation move, dribble to the left, and then did a little floater. That was pretty good. Again, not his most efficient game, but I'm not really expecting that much for this season, Bo. And I don't know if you... Yeah, what I mean by that is, you know, we don't need Kemba, you know, to average 22, 24 this year, especially since we have Derrick Rose. I feel like if he could give us a consistent 16 to 18 points, you know, per game, and maybe play closer to 60, 65 games in the season before, you know, we begin on the playoff run, I think that would really be beneficial for the team, and that won't necessarily push him, you know, on the verge of other injuries, you know, like he's had in the past.
I agree, and that's something that I constantly put emphasis on, that we don't need him to not only produce like Juan is saying, but we don't need him to play that many minutes, because we got guards behind him that could definitely hold down the fort. Derrick Rose, we know even from last night, 28 points, that we could put our faith in him, that he's going to have multiple of those type of games as long as he's healthy. But, I mean, and then you got somebody like McBride after that, who knows the type of burn that he's going to be getting moving forward. But if we're talking about a situation where you need a rest and take that knee out of the equation, I mean, just to get it feeling better, we good in multiple positions. So I'm not too really worried about getting 20 points, 22 points from Kemba The days that we do get it and he's hot, please let's ride him. Pause, but let's do what we got to do. But at the same time, we're not expecting Kemba to be no star. We got Julius for that, and then there's other people that I will go to as first options before I get to Kemba.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback off your point, I don't necessarily think that Grimes is gonna get all that much burn this year. I think that kind of responsibility is gonna fall on Emmanuel quickly, and that's another person that I actually wanted to focus on last game. Someone that shot 2 for 8 from the field, played 17 minutes, only had 5 points, 2 assists, and again 3 personal fouls. Again, I don't like to put too much emphasis on the preseason, but this whole fouling thing that he has going on for the last couple of games really needs to stop.
Nah, and also, as a guard, especially.
Exactly, and also I feel like Coach Tibbs is gonna have a short leash, given that we have Grimes, given that we have McBride, and I think that he needs to, I guess, take advantage of the opportunity that's going to be given to him and make sure that he understands that he is going to be relatively on a short leash, and that he has to stop with the fouls and also continue to improve on getting back to form and shooting. I feel like this preseason wasn't necessarily the best shooting for him. He did improve his playmaking, his assists per game all went up. However, his shooting did take a little bit of a toll, and I just want to kind of continue to see him improve or go back to that point where he was that lethal shooter that we expected him to be.
Summer League, he was shooting 34%, 24 from deep, and even in this preseason, we haven't seen what we wanted to see from quickly. So this is something that I'm pretty concerned about myself also, especially knowing that you got somebody like a McBride or Grimes behind you. That's the type of situation that could get Grimes or McBride some burn if he's constantly fouling and not showing that he could produce like we seen him produce last season. So, I mean, we need that effort from quickly. I think as far as coaching, the coaching needs to find a way to get him situated and comfortable, which leads us into our next topic. We don't know everybody's role yet. You know what I'm saying? So not knowing everybody's role and everybody not knowing where they get into their spots, knowing where your spot is playing basketball, I'm not going to say like we were the greatest basketball players as far as pickup games, but knowing your spots and where you're supposed to be on the court is so dire. And once you implement that in it's second nature, you moving and you know where you're supposed to be on the court, the game just flows for everybody, not just you, it flows for everybody. And once you get into your spots and you got that open shot, man, I want Quickly to be comfortable just as well as I want everybody else to be comfortable, but Quickly more so because, like I always put emphasis on, he's a flamethrower. He's one of those people like a Lou Will that could carry a squad from the bench. And you know what I'm saying? We have, that's why I like our teams, and that's why I always like the teams that are deep. You got someone on the bench or multiple people on the bench that make your starters be like, man, I ain't even got to put that effort in today. He's killing it. Let's sit down, let's rest, and wait for the next game. So that's what I want from Quick.
Yeah, and to kind of talk about individual roles, what do you think Evan Fournier's roles kind of gonna be for this team this year? He only played, I believe, 24 minutes last game and only took 8 shots. Now, I personally don't believe that Evan Fournier is going to be taking 8 shots a game. To me, he personally has to take at least 11, 12, kind of around that area, and average like a good 14 to 16 points. In this preseason, I kind of didn't really see him fit entirely into the team yet.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping if you have an idea as to what he will do for this year for the New York Knicks.
I think last night was a little forced, and I think they realized that they weren't using Fournier to the best of our abilities, and that's something that comes with having new players on your squad. I've said it before. I don't think Fournier was being implemented the way that he was supposed to be, and that's something that Figs noticed as well. Moving forward, man, I think it's something that it just takes time. These things take time, practice, film, and knowing where your spots are supposed to be. And I think he's not necessarily going to be somebody where you're forcing and he's got to be on ball. He can do that. I definitely trust him in that situation. He can handle the rock and go do his thing. He could even get into the paint for you and kick out. So he's, I'm not going to say like he's the greatest, penetrator. He's Dame Lillard or something, but he could definitely get into the paint and kick out. He could do a lot of the things. He's somewhat of an all-around player, but his emphasis is scoring.
I don't necessarily think that, his role on this team is going to be centered around, dribbling the ball.
And no, I don't think so either. And
stuff
that's
like that.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna. You see how they kind of used R.J. Barrett in the preseason, where he's spotting up, on occasion, or on occasion they'll run a specific play for him while the center will come set a screen, and he kind of has a line drive, to the basket type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Fournier is gonna be dribbling the ball as much as he has.
I think Fournier is going to be somewhat of a Duncan Robinson. He's just more of a mobile Duncan Robinson. He's a Duncan Robinson with more abilities for us.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson's a way better shooter, but...
Yeah, but this type of playing style that he has coming off the down screen and curls and things of that nature so he can get this shot off the screens, I think that's going to be most of Fournier's role on this squad, if I'm speaking on that personally.
I definitely agree there. How about... what did you like from Mitchell Robinson yesterday? Again, he only played 27 minutes. He did have 6 points and 9 rebounds.
Mitch did a lot of things that didn't show up on the stat sheet. So like,
but basically what I'm saying, what do you think is his role for this season? I mean, obviously he's gonna start for us.
Yeah.
I don't see Noel starting this year, although Noel's had a terrific season for us last year.
Yeah.
However, Mitch does have a history of getting hurt, and those injuries kind of scare me a little bit. Again, you can't use that to knock him down, But at the same time, he was in the top 100 rated players in the ESPN list, which again, I love the Knicks, diehard Knicks fan. I personally don't agree with that pick. So if he's in the top 100, if he's in that top 100 list, what can we expect his role to be on the team? Is he someone that's going to get a double-double? Is he someone that's going to be in the top of the league in blocks, kind of like a Gobert? What would be...
All right, so before last night, I didn't think Mitch would be on the timing of a double-double. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking maybe somewhere close to what his average is as of now, like 8 and 8, yeah. Or maybe 11 and then around the 8-9 rebounds. But now, with the way he's fighting more, he's looking stronger. Granted, it's off of one game and it's a preseason game, but I felt like he was out there trying to put in full energy because it's his first game in 7 months.
And, Taj Gibson had a terrific preseason. Obi Toppin was getting minutes at the 5. You know what Nerlens Noel is going to bring on the defensive end. So I'm not necessarily saying that he has to fight for his spot, but he is coming back from an injury, and if he wants to earn those minutes that are going to be such valuable in the center position for the New York Knicks, he definitely has to kind of give it his all, to convince Tibbs that he's the man for the job.
No, I agree. I definitely agree, but I think that he's proven pretty much. Well, like we said, I think that starting job is sealed. But I do feel like if Mitch is healthy, he can be somebody double-double now that he got that strength on him, and he wants to bump. And that's something I like to hear. He wants to bump and he wants to grind and get those tough buckets. And the way he was working on the offensive glass was the most impressive thing to me.
Definitely.
He was working on the offensive glass.
That one play where he got the rebound and he kind of dunked it, got pumped. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. He did it on multiple occasions, and he's fighting. It's just a falling. Like, stop falling too much. That's the only problem I got with Mitch, man. But I think Mitch is gonna have a good season and can be a double-double type guy. Obviously, he's gonna be that defensive enforcer for us in the middle with the minutes that he plays, and then Noel will come and do the same thing. If we healthy, man, that's one of the things that I have as a positive. Penetration is something that worries me as far as point guard play. But if those two guys are healthy, man, I feel like we're good. It's something that's going to be able to balance itself out until our point guard, we're guarding these point guards a little bit better.
Yeah, so we finished the regular season. We finished with a record 4-0. Again, we're not trying to put too much emphasis in the preseason. We didn't necessarily play the best teams in the league. And again, it is only the preseason. The regular season is what is important. That being said, what would you say are maybe some key takeaways that you can take away from the preseason New York Knicks for what's to come for the regular season?
Starting off negative is basically just, what I was getting through. That the point guard, I didn't feel that the first 2 games necessarily. After that, I would say that point guard play, us, not being able to guard the pick and roll well and point guards getting into the paint.
Yeah, but how
I mean,
much
it's too
of
much.
that do you think has to do with, again, it's just a preseason, and if there's a hard screen, I'm not gonna necessarily try to fight through it. It's,
No,
it's
there you might have a point. That would be something that definitely would work in our favor. So I'm not gonna complain in that sense. I would definitely like it for that to be the situation. But with people like Kemba's somebody that worries me defensively. I'm not too worried about Derrick Rose because I know he puts in that effort. Granted, Kemba's one of the leaders in charges, so I know he's also
And
somebody
steals.
putting effort. But I feel like it's just his size that works against him. I'm not saying he doesn't put that effort in. It's just the size that works against him, and there's other big point guards that he got to play.
Well, I feel like that's where our rotational defense and the fact that we have two legit big men that play defense come into a role. I feel like Mitchell's going to be able to kind of help Kemba, be able to work through those screens and be able to kind of assist him when the player has already beat Kemba, and he'll be able to kind of guard the paint. So I think I'm not necessarily too worried about Kemba's defense. But what I will say is, again, we don't know everyone's role, and even though we did go 4-0 in the preseason, I'm intrigued to see how everybody kind of fits in. R.J. Barrett played a lot of minutes in the preseason. He did a lot of spot up shooting from the 3-point line, which was great. We would love to see that. Again, he missed. The finishing has to get better, in my opinion. He missed a couple easy layups in the preseason that I was not too thrilled about. But what I will say from the preseason is I'm excited for the record. I'm excited that we came back last game and won that game, especially the way that we did. But I still feel like we haven't seen what our identity will be for the season, and I'm kind of excited to kind of learn that as
The
as
one
we
thing I'll
progress.
throw in there, so I would say let's go with that last final 7 minutes of the game, which is pretty much when we really, really turned it up. After Tibbs getting that tech, pretty much. Are you comfortable with that defense? Do you feel like that intensity is back? We didn't lose too much, and we're not gonna miss Peyton and Reggie Bullock.
That's
too
actually
much, like
that's
some
actually a
other
great
people think
question.
we will.
I honestly think I don't think it's gonna be as big of a drop off as some people say it will, but I do there's gonna be a drop off. I mean, Alfred Payton is a big guard.
So is it a top 5 to a top 10? Because we were top 5 defense all season. Do you think are we still able to get to that top 5 or we're top 10? Or do you think lower?
I think if we are in that top 10, it's gonna be like 6, 7. So it's not gonna be the huge drop off, but I do feel like there's gonna be a little bit of a drop off considering the size that we had at the guard position last year.
Okay.
With Bullock, with Alfred Payton, big guard. That the only thing that he was told to do was play defense. Kemba is smaller. He does play hard, but he is a smaller guard, and you kind of have to put that into account. I have a question for you, Bo.
What's up?
Do you celebrate? We saw yesterday how we won the game. Obviously, Randall comes down, does a little shake and bake, and hits the buzzer beater for us. Do you celebrate a preseason buzzer beater in the NBA?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, I think you do. Seeing as this specific game ended, we came with that intensity. Like Julius was hedging screens. I'm talking about damn near half court. So that energy was there. It was lovely. I felt like that last 7 minutes turned into the regular season. You know what I'm saying? Especially for us and New York fans, we know about digging ourselves a hole early in the game. And for us to be able to fight back, I think for us to put in that effort to come back and then for the game to be tied and end in that fashion, I think it is something to be happy about, to know that we can close games. We have somebody who can close games. We know Kemba can also close games. We know we can give Fournier a shot off the curl or something to close games. So I'm happy now that I don't think closing games is too much of a stress factor for us now.
Yeah,
So
I think I would have to
can
agree with you
celebrate.
there. I think, in a way, you kind of have to celebrate it. Especially you were down 19 points. You came all the way back. It's the last preseason game. The crowd is into it. The crowd is getting loud. Even if you don't want to celebrate, even if you know that it doesn't really count necessarily for anything, it's definitely a morale boost.
It is.
And for that specific for that specific reason, I feel like in a way, you don't go crazy. You don't, de-weight and hop on the scoreboard and none of that or on the table. But you definitely feel happy, and I really enjoyed how the entire team kind of went over there. Because Randall, if you looked at Randall, he was smiling. He was happy that he made the shot, but he kind of wasn't too excited for the celebration. And I feel like when the whole team went over there, it was like, hey, loosen up. You made the game, the shot, the game-winning shot. I feel like that was nice to see, and that team kind of camaraderie and that union coming together.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm not seeing that with a lot of other teams, and it's something that's beautiful. But I think to end it off there, I think it is something to be happy about. Like it's some morale boost. That's the perfect way to put it. To be honest, if I would agree with you there. I think these guys deserve it the way they played the preseason. We've seen some good, we've seen some bad. And they should rest up. 5 days, man. 4 now. They should definitely rest up. But now we're going into the regular season, and that's where we're going to bring it into our first opponents, who we know very, very well. Juan, what do you think about our situation and this game going in to the Celtics?
Yeah, so I actually find it pretty interesting. I'm looking at the odds from Vegas, and right now we are 1-point favorites at home. And honestly, I kind of find that a little bit disrespectful for the Knicks.
Are you impressed with the Celtics?
Not at all. Their record for the preseason, and again, it's only the preseason, but they went 2-2. They got demolished on Friday by the Heat, lost by 21. Lost to the Magic, which is arguably going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. They beat the Magic. You have to win that game. And then they beat the Raptors by 2 points. So again, it's only the preseason. I don't believe Jaylen Brown played much. I don't believe Jason Tatum played much, which obviously are their two big key players. But I'm not. I see them kind of as a 7th seed, fighting for that play-in spot. I definitely don't feel like the Knicks are only 1 point better than the Celtics. And again, it's the start of the regular season.
You're aware that on the power rankings, ESPN power rankings, they were above us.
Yeah, which completely does not make sense to me. Who do you think will start with them? I know Marcus Smart will start. Jaylen Brown, Tatum. They're gonna start Horford.
And it looks that way.
Oh man.
Or Robert Williams if he's
Williams, good.
I like him.
Yeah, he's decent. He's decent. And who's gonna start for them at power forward? Are you gonna have Cancer there? Come on.
I don't know.
Like
Jabari Parker. I don't know. I don't know.
See,
the rest of the roster is not sexy to me. So that's why I feel like it's the same problem I have with them is the same problem I have with Dallas. We're talking about two people. Granted, Dallas's roster is much more complete than Celtics. I'm just not too impressed with the Celtics. They have a lot of scrappers, but at the same time, it's just not about that. It's at the end of the day, what are you doing on the offensive end? It's about more points on the board. You could play as much defense as you want. That's stuff that we saw last year. We played great defense. We could not put the ball in the hoop.
At all.
You got two people that are good at putting the ball in the hoop, but at the same time, it's just, is that what you're, are they both going to put 50 while everybody else is just scrapping for you? No. It's no disrespect to those two guys because I know they could put in the work. It's just the rest of the squad does not impress me at all, and I don't understand why people...
Well, I think the reason why they're higher up is because their two best players are better than our two best players. But I also feel like, the entire team has to get taken into account here.
Yeah.
We have arguably one of the deepest teams in the league if you really look down our entire team list. And I don't know, I just feel like Jaylen Brown will get his 22, his 23, maybe even average 24 to 25 this year. We know Tatum is a bona fide star in the league, and he'll get his 27, 28.
Yeah, I think they could do
they'll do great.
Plus, yeah.
But, as long as, for this particular game, as long as you don't let, Marcus Smart get 18 points, or as long as you don't get Horford get 6, 7 assists, and get the rebounds, I think this is going to be a relatively easy win for the New York Knicks, and especially given that we are home. And I think that we're going to get the NBA season off to a great start.
And I think, I agree with you. I think this is a dub for us because, one, I think they were better last year, and I think we were worse last year.
Exactly, and we got better and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Would you say that Cancer, adding Horford, getting rid of Tristan Thompson, getting rid of Kemba, would you say?
I kind of think they're the same player in a sense as far as offensive board goes. I would say Cancer has better scoring ability as far as the whole court in perspective, and he runs the floor. Tristan Thompson runs the floor as well, but as far as productivity, I would probably pick Canner, unless we're talking defensively. But I just don't see. I don't think it's enough, and I don't think Horford is going to do what he had in his first stint. Granted, he knows the system. If knowing the system, when you flow in and all that stuff, that could be something that plays to their advantage. But I just don't see it. I think we're going to be able to break through that, and I think these days that we got right now are going to be, or with a coach like Tibbs, is not going to be something where we're just resting. We're into film, we're into practice, we're trying to find our spots, and we're trying to get better. And I think that's something that's going to show in that first regular season game. We come out with that fire. We at the Garden. We trying to
start 1-0, baby.
We trying to start 1-0 for sure. I think everybody's going in with that mentality. Nobody's trying to be on one in front of our own fans. I think this is a dub for us, man.
One last question, kind of before we go here, Bo. For my bet, for my betting slip, we kind of need to get that going for this year. Do you think that Julius Randle gets a 20-10 game to start the year?
For sure. Yeah,
absolutely guaranteed. Are you feeling 0% confidence, 50% confidence, or 100%?
No, my confidence is more so towards 100. If I had to put in a percentage, I'll put it 70%. If the only reason he doesn't get a 20-10 game is if everybody else is flowing, which I would definitely love to see. But I think Julius is going to come out ready to take their heads off, especially when we're talking about who's their power forward, who's going to guard.
Exactly. I don't even know who's going to start for them at the power forward spot.
So, and that's, what I'm saying? You're going to have to guard me. You know what I'm saying? That's with Randall, man, it's just, I think it's definitely 20-10. I got one question to add. How do you think we fare with the visuals that we got on preseason? Granted, like we've been saying, the trend, you can't put too much emphasis on it. How do you think we fare for the season? What do you think are our positives, and how do you think we just look for the rest of the season going forward?
I think we're definitely a top 4 team in the East, believe it or not. Obviously, there's the big juggernauts and the Brooklyn Nets and the Bucks. I kind of see us in that Heat, Hawks, kind of, in that area. So we're definitely a top 4 contender. And just as long as we can remain healthy and kind of distribute the minutes out correctly so that we could rest players when they need the rest, and kind of give them some time off. I think this is going to be one of the best seasons in a long time for the New York Knicks. I think the talent's there. I think the coaching is there. I think what happened last year throughout the playoffs kind of not only gave us some extra motivation for this upcoming year, but kind of taught us a lesson of what we needed to do for the offseason, meaning getting scoring. We obviously did that in multiple ways this offseason. So we definitely improved from last year. And the only 2 teams that I kind of think improved as well are the Hawks due to experience, and then the Heat with some of the additions they had with Kyle Lowry. I believe they got PJ Tucker, so those are interesting moves. But overall, I kind of see us as a 3 or 4 seed, and we're going to be a tough out in this upcoming playoffs.
I don't know if I want to flirt with the 3 seed just yet. Because of the Miami and Atlanta, I feel like they got really, really better. That's something I've said countless times. I definitely see us as a top 5, one, because of the Philly situation. And even with Ben Simmons back, I don't think that they're still going to be rubbing shoulders well. And I feel like that might translate onto the floor, which puts them behind us now. And who knows if he even starts the season right away. We don't know how that's going to go. But I do see us with that 5 seed. I don't think we're going to be, if we're healthy, under no circumstances, I don't think we're involved in any of those playing games. But hey, man, I like the way this season is looking. So definitely within that top 6 seed.
Yeah, so again, the season starts October 20th, 7:30 on ESPN.
Yes,
we'll be facing the Celtics. Right now, we are only 1-point favorites, but I'm not too nervous about this game. I have a good feeling that we are going to get this upcoming season off to a good start.
Likewise, man. Look, Figs, man, I'm glad you was able to join me on this show, man. You're going to be seeing a lot more Figs.
Definitely. I'll be around here all season.
Those of y'all that checking in, man, thank you so much. You know how we rocking, man. Love, gratitude, positive attitude. But before that, man, like, comment, subscribe, share with all your peoples, man. And we check y'all on the next one.
Have a good one, man.